Hello everyone. In this video, I will be talking on anatomy of thyroid gland. So, thyroid gland is an endocrine gland that is located in the lower part of the neck. We can see here, this is the enlarged thyroid gland, and the location of the thyroid gland is in the front of the lower part of the neck. And it is one of the largest endocrine gland. Another one is the pancreas. And this thyroid gland is responsible for secretion of three important hormones, and these are triiodothyronine, thyroxine, and calcitonin. And these hormones of the thyroid glands are responsible for regulation of basal metabolic rates that we will discuss in the separate videos when we will discuss about the physiology of thyroid gland. So it regulates the basal metabolic rate. It also regulates the calcium metabolism along with the parathyroid hormone, and it also regulates the psychomotor development of a human being. And if you see the origin of the word thyroid, so it has been suggested that the thyroid has its origin from the Greek word thyreos, that means shield, the shield that is used by the army. And most likely, thyroid glands got its name from the thyroid cartilage, which appears as a shield to protect the deeper structure of the neck. So, if you see the features and parts of the thyroid gland, so normal thyroid glands usually weight around 15 to 20 grams, which is slightly bigger in case of female. Sometimes it is said to be it is of H shape or it is of butterfly shape. So it constitutes two lobes, the right and left lobe, and that two lobes are interconnected by a narrow band of thyroid tissue that is called isthmus. So each lobe, one on each side, is connected by a narrow band or narrow tissue of the thyroid gland, that is isthmus. So if you see the measurement of the thyroid gland, each lobe measures approximately 5 centimeter in length, 3 centimeter in width, and 2 centimeter in thickness. Sometimes an extra lobe is present which is pyramidal in shape, and it is commonly seen on the left lobe of the thyroid gland, and it is called pyramidal lobe. And from this pyramidal lobe, sometimes we get a fibrous or fibromuscular band that connects this pyramidal lobe to the hyoid bone in the midline. And this band, which is fibrous or fibromuscular in nature, that connects the pyramidal lobe to the hyoid bone, is called levator glanduli thyroidi. So if we see the location of the thyroid gland, we already know that thyroid gland is located in the front of the neck in the lower part. So it is located front and the side of the neck, and its vertical extension is from the C5 vertebra to T1 vertebra, means cervical fifth vertebra to thoracic 1 vertebra. And each lobe on each side extend upward slightly oblique to the thyroid cartilage, and downward it extend up to the fifth or sixth tracheal cartilage. So again, I am repeating, the vertical extension of the thyroid gland is from the fifth cervical vertebra up to the first thoracic vertebra, or from the thyroid cartilage to the fifth or sixth tracheal cartilage. The location of the isthmus is usually in the midline in the front of the second to fourth tracheal ring. Thyroid gland is a capsulated structure, and it having two capsules. One outer, which is also called as false capsule, and inner, which is the true capsule. So we can see from this image the position of the capsules in the thyroid gland. So this is the outer capsule, which is also called as the false capsule because it is formed by the splitting of the pretracheal fossa. And the inner capsule, which is the true capsule, that is here it is represented as a green line, and this capsule is formed by the condensation of the fibrous stroma of the thyroid gland. So the outer capsule is derived from the splitting of the pretracheal fossa. So this is the trachea, and this is the thyroid gland. So here is the location of the pretracheal fossa. So this thyroid gland is encapsulated by the splitting of the pretracheal fossa, and this outer thyroid capsule is thin along the posterior border of the lateral lobe. So this is the lateral lobe, this is the posterior border, and it is thick on the medial surface of the lateral lobe. So if you see, this is the outer surface of the thyroid gland. So here it is thin, and in the medial aspect of the thyroid gland, it is thick. It is thick on the medial surface of the lateral lobe. So if you see this outer thyroid capsule fuse at the upper border and attached to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage and to the body of the hyoid bone in the midline. So this outer capsule fused at the upper border, and they attached the thyroid gland to the thyroid cartilage, and sometimes also in the midline it got attachment up to the hyoid bone. But on the medial surface here, which is shown here in the purple color, this part of the outer capsule is thickened, and they attach the thyroid gland to the cricoid cartilage, and this thickened part of the thyroid capsule forms the suspensory ligament of Berry. The inner capsule, which is formed by the condensation of the fibrous stroma. This is the thyroid gland. So here there is a condensation of the fibrous stroma and forms the inner capsule. That's why it is also called as true capsule. And one more thing here you have to remember is that just inside the inner capsule, that is the true capsule, there is a venous plexus. So coming to the relation of the thyroid gland. So each lobe of the thyroid is pyramidal in shape, thus it's having one apex, one base. It has three surfaces, that is lateral, medial and posterior surface, and having two borders, the anterior and posterior border. So we can see from this image, this is the each lobe of the thyroid gland. So it's having apex, one base, and the three surface, that is lateral, medial and posterior, and two border, anterior and posterior border. So if you see the relation of the apex of the thyroid gland, so this is the apex of the thyroid gland. This apex is directed upward, slightly oblique, and it is up to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. And if you see the relation of the apex, it's lie between the inferior constrictor. This is the inferior constrictor, which is located on the medial aspect of the apex, and the sternohyoid muscles, which is located on the lateral aspect of the. And this apex, superiorly, it is related to the superior thyroid artery. This is superior thyroid artery and the external laryngeal nerve. If you see the relation of the base of the thyroid lobe, the base extend up to fifth and sixth tracheal ring. So it is related to the fifth and sixth tracheal ring, and is related to the thyroid inferior thyroid artery, which is a branch of thyrocervical trunk. So this is the inferior thyroid artery, and this is very much related to the base of the thyroid lobe. If you see the relation of the surface, let us see the first, the lateral surface, which is also the superficial surface. So this is the lateral surface, which is the superficial surface of the thyroid gland, and this superficial surface or lateral surface is related to or just covered by stylohyoid, sternohyoid, and superior belly of omohyoid muscles. So these are the steps muscles of the neck, and these muscles are related to the lateral surface of thyroid gland, and also it is related to the anterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. So this is the sternocleidomastoid muscles, and anterior border of the sternocleidomastoid is related to the lateral surface of thyroid gland. If you see the medial surface, which is the deep surface of the thyroid gland, so this is the medial surface of the thyroid gland. So the medial surface of the thyroid gland is related to the trachea and esophagus. So this is the trachea, and this is the esophagus, and this medial surface is related to the trachea and esophagus. The medial surface is also related to the inferior constrictor muscles, as we have seen in the previous diagram, and the cricothyroid muscles. This is the cricothyroid muscles connecting the cricoid to the thyroid, and also related to the cricoid and thyroid cartilage. So this is thyroid cartilage, and this one is the cricoid cartilage. The posterolateral surface. This is the posterolateral surface, This is somehow rounded, the narrowest surface, and this surface is related to the carotid sheath and the content of the carotid sheath. So the carotid sheath and its contents is related to the posterior lateral surface, and the contents of the carotid sheaths are carotid artery, internal jugular vein. This is the common carotid artery, internal jugular vein, and vagus nerve. Sometimes also the structure that is associated with the carotid sheath are ansa cervicalis and cervical sympathetic chain. So this is how this cervical sympathetic chain and ansa cervicalis is associated with the carotid sheath. And this carotid sheath is very much related to the posterior lateral surface of the thyroid gland. Anterior border of the thyroid gland is thin. This is the anterior border. It is thin, narrow, and separate the superficial and medial surface of the thyroid gland. And this anterior border is related to the anterior branch of the superior thyroid artery. So this is the superior thyroid artery arising from the external carotid artery, and this anterior branch of the superior thyroid artery is related to the anterior border of the thyroid gland. Posterior border is thick and rounded, and this posterior surface is related to the longitudinal arterial anastomosis between the superior and inferior thyroid artery and also the parathyroid gland. So this is the exact location of the parathyroid gland on the posterior border of the thyroid gland, and this dotted line is actually showing anastomosis between the superior thyroid artery and inferior thyroid artery. So on the back side of the on the posterior aspect of the thyroid gland, we get the anastomosis between the superior and inferior thyroid artery. So if you see the isthmus of the thyroid gland, so this is the location of the isthmus of the thyroid gland. It is a narrow horizontal part of the thyroid gland in the midline that connects the both lobes. It has two surface, superficial and deep surface. So this is the superficial surface and this is the deep surface. Superficial surface is related to the strap muscles of the neck. These are the sternohyoid muscles and sternothyroid muscles and anterior jugular vein. The deep surface is related to the second, third and fourth tracheal ring. Isthmus having two borders, superior and inferior border. The superior border, this is the superior border and this one is the inferior border. The superior border is related to with the anastomosis between the anterior branches of the superior thyroid artery. So this is the superior thyroid artery, this is the anterior branch, and this one is the posterior branch. And this anterior branch on the both side do the anastomosis on the superior border of the isthmus. On the inferior border, the thyroid veins emerges and also thyroidea ima artery is located. So the inferior border is related to the thyroid vein, inferior thyroid vein and thyroidea ima artery. Now let us see the blood supply of the thyroid gland. So thyroid gland is a highly vascular gland. It is one of the most vascular gland of our body, and it is supplied by four arteries, two having major contribution. These are the superior thyroid artery and inferior thyroid artery, but the thyroid also having arterial supply from thyroidea ima artery and accessories thyroid artery. So let us see first the superior thyroid artery. So the superior thyroid artery supplies the superior one third of the each lobe and also the upper half of the isthmus, and it is a branch of external carotid artery. So this is the external carotid artery. From here the superior thyroid artery emerges and supply the upper one third of the lobe and upper half of the isthmus, and this superior thyroid artery is very much related to the external laryngeal nerve. So this is the schematic diagram which shows that how this superior thyroid artery is related to the external laryngeal nerve. At the apex of the thyroid gland, this superior thyroid artery divided into anterior branch and posterior branch. This anterior branch, the anastomose with the opposite side anterior branch of the superior thyroid artery on the superior border of the isthmus. This posterior branch anastomose with the inferior thyroid artery on the posterior surface of the thyroid gland. The inferior thyroid artery is a branch of the thyrocervical trunk that arises from the first part of the subclavian artery. This is the subclavian artery. From the first part of the subclavian artery on the both side, thyrocervical trunk arises, and from this thyrocervical trunk, this inferior thyroid artery arises. It is intimately related to the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It gives rises 4 to 5 branches that supply the lower two-thirds of each lobe and the one half of the isthmus. So if you see the relation of the arteries with the nerves, you can see from here the superior thyroid artery, which is a branch of the external carotid artery. The superior thyroid artery, which is a branch of the external carotid artery, is related with the external laryngeal nerve. And the inferior thyroid artery, a branch of thyrocervical trunk, is intimately related with the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Other than the superior and inferior thyroid artery, thyroid gland also got blood supply from two more arteries. These are thyroidea ema artery that is present in around 30% of the cases, and it arises as a branch of brachiocephalic trunk, or many times it may arise directly from the arc of aorta. Other accessory thyroid artery may arise from the tracheal or esophageal arteries. Venous drainage. The thyroid gland is drained by three sets of veins. These are superior thyroid vein, middle thyroid vein, and inferior thyroid vein. Sometimes one more vein may be there. These are called the thyroid vein of Cocker. So this is the superior thyroid vein. This is the location of the middle thyroid vein, and this is the inferior thyroid vein. So superior thyroid vein emerges at the upper pole of the each lobes and drain into internal jugular vein. So this is internal jugular vein, and this superior thyroid vein emerges at the apex of the each thyroid lobe. The middle thyroid veins are short and wide, and that drains into internal jugular vein. The inferior thyroid veins, they emerges at the lower border of the isthmus. They form a plexus here. Then this plexus drain into the brachiocephalic vein. And sometimes thyroid veins may be present. When it's present, it emerges between the middle and inferior thyroid vein and drain into internal jugular vein. Coming to the lymphatics of the thyroid glands, the lymphatics of the thyroid glands is divided into two groups, the upper and the lower groups, and these follows the arteries, the main arteries of the thyroid glands. These are the superior thyroid artery and inferior thyroid artery. The upper lymphatic groups drain into prelaryngeal and deep cervical, also the jugulo-digastric lymph nodes. So these are the prelaryngeal lymph nodes groups, and these are the deep cervical lymph node groups. Exact location is around the jugulo-digastric lymph nodes, and these follow the superior thyroid arteries. The lower group follows the inferior thyroid arteries, and they drains in the pretracheal. These are the pretracheal group, and the lower deep cervical lymph nodes, or the lymph nodes along the recurrent laryngeal nerves. From the lower part of the isthmus, sometimes they drain directly into the retroesternal or brachiocephalic lymph node in the superior mediastinum. The nerve supply of the thyroid gland is both from the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. For the sympathetic system, it derived from the superior, middle, and inferior cervical sympathetic ganglia, but most of the contribution is from the middle cervical sympathetic ganglia, and parasympathetic nerve supply is from the vagus and recurrent laryngeal nerve. And if you see the histology of the thyroid gland is divided into lobules by fibroelastic tissues, and it is composed of stroma, that is the connective tissue, and the parenchyma, these are, that is the thyroid follicles. So these are the follicles, and this part is the stroma. So the stroma made of the connective tissue that forms the framework of the gland, and this include fibroelastic capsule, intralobular loose areolar connective tissue that provide the bed for the thyroid follicle. So these are the intralobular loose areolar tissue that forms the bed of the follicles, and the parenchyma that mostly constitute the thyroid follicles. These are the structural and functional unit of the thyroid gland. They are lined by simple cuboidal epithelial cells. They are called the follicular cells. And the lumen of the follicles contains gel-like substance that is called the colloid, that contains the thyroglobulin, and that is secreted by these cuboidal cells of the follicles. Thyroid also contains the parafollicular cells, or also called as clear cell or C cells that are responsible for release of the calcitonin. So this is a schematic diagram that's showing the thyroid gland. These are the loose areolar tissue. This is the stroma. This is the follicles. The follicles is lined by cuboidal epithelial cells that secrete the colloids, and these colloids is there in the follicles. And this colloid contains thyroglobulin. And there are few cells that are parafollicular cell that is responsible for secretion of calcitonin. They are also called clear cell or C cell. So this is the schematic diagram. This is the histology image of the thyroid glands. So these are the thyroid follicles filled with the colloids. With this, we come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching this video.